You might think you're prepared for your upcoming Disney World trip, but are you truly ready to encounter this stuff? Spoiler alert, you're about to be. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. So at Disney World, it's best to always be prepared. Prepared for what exactly? Oh, you know, price hikes, extra events, snakes, the huge. Today, we're going to be hitting up the parks and collecting badges along the way, just like Wilderness Explorer Scouts, so that by the end of the video, you'll be truly prepared for whatever curveballs Disney's going to throw your way on this next trip. Number 1 is the snake badge. I know you were intrigued by that lead-in. I thought we'd start off by collecting a badge that you might never have thought you would need to collect at Disney. And yet here we are with the first-hand experience to really drive this point home. A few weeks ago, one of our DFB reporters was at Epcot grabbing some updated pictures for our free Top Restaurants in Disney World PDF, which you can get yourself, by the way, by scanning the QR code right here or by heading to disneyfoodblog.com/top restaurants after this. But during the middle of her work shift, she saw a snake. Not a rubber snake, a legit snake over by Test Track, and he was huge. So, of course, she had to drop the team a message and video about it, and that started a whole thing. One of our writers mentioned how rare it is to meet Jafar in his snake form. Another one asked if this was the new character featured in the Zootopia 2 trailer. Yeah, we have fun here. But to be really real with you, this isn't the first time we've seen a snake rear its little head and beady eyes on the Disney scene. While it's not a super common occurrence, it does happen, and it's happened to our reporters numerous times. But anytime we've come across them, they've been the harmless and peaceful type, nothing to go running for the hills for. The important thing to remember, though, is that you're in Florida. This state is basically a giant swampy wetland, meaning Disney is technically invading their homes, not the other way around. The best thing you can do if you spot a slithery friend inside the park is to leave him alone and let a nearby cast member know so they can safely take the creature off the premises and somewhere a lot more snake-friendly. Because while we haven't come across any, nefarious snakes, they do exist in Florida for sure. So keep yourself safe and let a cast member know. Our next badge is the Post-Trip Blues badge. I cannot take away your post-Disney depression, but I can offer you a digital badge. The post-Disney blues are real and they linger. But think about it. You put so much energy into planning the perfect trip. You surprise the kids, you create the countdown, you watch the DFB videos in preparation, and then you get there, which means for however long you're in the Disney bubble, your biggest worries in the real world are kind of set aside, if only for a moment, and traded out momentarily for less serious vacation worries, like getting lightning lanes and making mobile orders and deciding which pair of mini ears goes best with your outfit. And then, once it's all over, there's that horrible realization of having to go back to work and school and the lull of not having Mickey-shaped foods for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you're concerned about those gray skies and big sighs following you back home after your Disney World vacation, and you're wishing a hitchhiking ghost would have followed you home instead, here are some ways to make those following days back home a lot cheerier to help you get back into your regularly scheduled routine. First, don't stop the Disney magic just because you're home. Look up some Disney World recipes to whip up in your kitchen. I've got one for the Liberty Tree Tavern's Ooey Gooey Toffee Cake that I've been using that I'll post for you down in the comments. Or have a Disney Plus family movie night or, chill out here with your friends at DFB and we'll continue to take you around the parks from the comfort of your couch. 2, you can make lists from your trip. You see us ranking and rating and creating best of lists all the time on this channel, but what are your personal favorite rides and snacks and restaurants and shows and gift shops? List off all the contenders and have your family vote to see which Disney experiences made it to the top. And then you sort of have a good repeat game plan for when you go back to Disney World. And 3, plan a post-Disney day trip. Sure, it might not be a full-fledged vacation with Cinderella Castle and fireworks and the People Mover, but it'll still give you something to look forward to once you're back home, even if it means a simple picnic in the park or a coffee shop crawl in your hometown or dropping into a local weekend festival. Now it's time to acquire our airport badge. Preparing for Disney World is one thing. Preparing for arriving at Disney World is a whole other thing entirely. The Orlando International Airport, or MCO, can be a beast, especially if you're trying to leave and get over to Disney as soon as possible so that you can start taking advantage of your free water park day as a Disney hotel guest, or make it over to a dining reservation, or whatever else you might have planned right after you land. So here are just a few things to keep in mind or plan ahead for if you're going to be landing at MCO and trying to leave really fast. First off, MCO. Yeah, this place is huge. You probably could have already picked up on that, though. After all, this is the main Orlando airport we're talking about here. But I'm saying this because just crossing the airport to get to your bus or rideshare or rental car station is going to be a journey in and of itself. A journey that typically involves a shuttle transfer with Mayor Buddy Dyer welcoming you into the area. MCO does have interactive maps for each of their terminals on the website and via the MCO app, but just as a general rule of thumb, pay attention to those overhead signs and factor in that extra travel time into your day's itinerary. And getting from point A to point B inside MCO isn't the only travel time you need to consider. You're going to have a few different options when it comes to escaping the airport. Maybe you want to book the Mears shuttle service. Maybe you want to try the Link City bus. Maybe a rideshare is more your speed, or maybe you're going to stick with a rental car. Or you have a really good friend in the area who will come and pick you up. Whatever the case may be, traveling from the airport to Disney World is going to take you a minimum of 30 minutes. But that's not even considering the amount of time it takes for, say, the Mears Connect to arrive and make all the different stops around the hotels, or all the Link bus transfers, or the traffic. Oh my word, the traffic on I-4. If there's truly something you need to arrive at Disney World in a certain amount of time for, then I'd suggest flying in the day before and staying at a cheaper but not sketchy hotel right off-site that night, just to make sure you got some wiggle room to spare. Because if transportation slows you down, or if your flight is delayed, or anything, you're not going to want your trip caught in any collateral damage. Next for your badge sash is the Dining Reservation Badge. I'm about to show you how much easier it is to prepare for advanced dining reservations than it was even a year ago. When it comes to advanced dining reservations, or ADRs, for Disney's table service restaurants, two things have been true for a while now. First, you can book ADRs 60 days before your trip with a range of 10 extra days tacked on if you're staying at a Disney-owned hotel. And two, certain ADRs still manage to book up real fast, especially the new ones or Cinderella's Royal Table because, it's in the castle. But here are some recent changes to the ADR game that could help your Resi game by leaps and bounds. First, don't just look for ADRs one by one. Look for them in a range. Back in the day, you could only search for one day of advanced dining reservations for restaurants at a time, meaning you'd continuously be selecting a certain day on the online ADR calendar, scrolling, coming up dry, backtracking, and adjusting your search, only to wash, rinse, and repeat over and over and over again. But now, when booking an advanced dining reservation, you can choose a range of dates to see what reservations are open for multiple days out, making it so much easier to plan your trip around a certain restaurant's availability. Next tip, choose what reservations you want to be shown. Last year, Disney made a change so that available dining reservations are now divided into 3 categories. The first is morning or breakfast time, which is any reservation before noon. The second is afternoon or lunch, which is any reservation between noon and 4 p.m. And the third is evening or dinner, any reservation after 4 p.m. You can also search for all-day reservations as well. But since we do have that option of narrowing down the reservation scope, we now have a lot less sifting to worry about and a lot more time for speedy booking. And third tip, look for last-minute reservation openings. So this isn't a new strategy, since often Disney will clearly list out same-day reservations on the My Disney Experience app during your visit. But Disney is embracing this strategy even more lately, especially if you're over in Disney Springs. Just outside the Orange parking garage, they just added a cast member at a podium who will let you know which restaurants have same-day dining availability. So if you're looking for a bite to eat in Disney Springs, but you don't really have an ADR game plan, you might want to head over to that podium to find out what's available right now. I mean, it sure beats wandering around Disney Springs and asking every restaurant you come across if they got any availability, right? Disney Springs restaurants also have the upper hand when it comes to ADRs because many of them can also be booked through the OpenTable website, since many of those restaurants are owned and operated by third parties and not by Disney directly. So if you're coming up dry for reservations for like the Edison or the Boathouse or another one of those Disney Springs restaurants we love to brag on, then check OpenTable next for reservations that might not have been an option over on your My Disney Experience app. If you can survive a family meltdown, you deserve more than a badge. You deserve like another vacation. But I warn y'all about family meltdowns from kids, teens, adults, grandparents frequently on this channel. And that's because I've seen them firsthand just kill the entire mood of a trip early on. And I've been involved in family meltdowns as well that do the same thing. If your family is getting ready to throw down some choice words at one another, or your toddler can't catch their breath from a tantrum that's got them red in the face, this doesn't mean your family is just downright dysfunctional. It could. That's something more for the professionals to deal with, but more often than not, even the normally content family can get swept up in the heat, the exhaustion, the hunger, the overstimulation, making us react in ways that might be embarrassing to remember once we're back home and well rested and really taking the time to think about it. Remember to extinguish those tiny flames as they start to pop up amongst your group before they turn into full-on fire hazards. If you hear one of the kids muttering something about being hungry, then take a snack break. If your kids have queue line fatigue, let them do something else besides the rides for a while, like playing a playground or going in and exploring the shops or something. If grandma and grandpa are sweating up a storm, duck into the AC somewhere and grab some free water cups from a nearby quick service. In a nutshell, take those breaks if you want to avoid future breakdowns. Also, remember, you can always split up your group. You don't all have to be together all the time. So if grandma and grandpa need to head back and go to the pool for a bit, or if the toddler needs a nap and someone needs to go nap with them, that's perfectly fine. You're not a bad family. You're not, awkward or strange. You are normal. This is 1,000% something that needs to happen regularly with families, and the families that are willing to just split up for just a little while and meet up back for dinner are the ones who are probably going to be, happier. Now, I can't stress this one enough. Please, 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 even if you've already downloaded the My Disney Experience app in the past, make sure it's updated before you get to the parks. Like all apps, the My Disney Experience app goes through its fair share of glitches and frustrating moments. We still love how easy breezy it is to use, usually, and you do have to use it. You got to manage your lightning lanes, your online hotel check-ins, and so much more. And the handy-dandy app is the ultimate tool to have on hand to keep track of it. But if your app isn't updated, then you very well could end up missing out on the latest info regarding virtual queues or advanced dining reservation changes, or even map updates that'll help you track down things way easier instead of being sent on a wild goose chase for them. I've even realized that if my app's not updated, it's not going to open my hotel room door. I have to go out, usually delete the app, re-upload it, and then make sure it's updated. Anyway, if there's an update that needs to be made, but if you weren't notified, it's still a good idea to go to the App Store, see if there are any recent updates. And again, like I said, if you haven't been to Disney World for a while, delete the app and re-upload and re-log in. A party and a badge? Double prizes, y'all. Each year, Magic Kingdom hosts 2 holiday after-hours parties on select evenings. There's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and there's Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So each one features limited-time snacks and entertainment for the season, as well as lower wait times for rides than you're going to find during the day. Now, that might be good enough for you to say, sign me up, no more twisting my arm. I'll gladly book one of these separately ticketed events right now, but I'm not going to let you do that without warning you about a few things first. Warning number 1, don't show up right when the party is about to kick off. While the holiday parties don't officially start until 7 p.m., your party ticket will still get you into Magic Kingdom as early as 4 p.m. That means you can enjoy 3 extra hours of normal theme park time. You can eat, you can ride a few rides, you can meet a few characters before the specialty snacks and the rare characters and the entertainment start happening. And if you're planning on doing this for the Halloween party, you'll definitely want to take advantage of that extra daylight time so that you can take pictures in your costumes before it gets too dark out. Warning number 2 before you buy that ticket, your party could be a wash. Literally. If there's rain at your party, it's very likely that the party will continue, for better or for worse, but some changes might happen to the parade and fireworks that night, and the entertainment could potentially be canceled. But if Disney can put on the party safely, they're going to keep the ball rolling. If it's raining too much for you, but Disney still throws the party even if the outdoor shows have to be canceled, it can be very difficult to get a refund, but it's still worth asking about. Just be respectful of whatever answer you receive from the guest services cast member about the matter. When the parties are canceled, like some were during hurricane season last year, you might be given a full refund or a ticket to come back another day. But really, it all depends on what Disney decides to do and how they want to manage the situation. And warning number 3, it still gets hot. I know, You really want to wear that head-to-toe Halloween costume, layers, wigs, and all, but here's the thing. Florida doesn't know what seasons are. Even in October, and especially in August when the party starts up, Orlando is hot and humid, and thick costumes might be way too hot for you to reasonably wear all party long, even after the sun has set. You want to especially think about this for your kids too, because they might just be sweating through and not having a great time at the party due to that. You can always take pictures in your costumes and then switch to a short sleeve version of it shortly after to make sure you're staying stylish and comfy. Or you can take my route and just go as a doctor and just wear scrubs. So it's basically like you're in pajamas the whole time. And as for the shoes, normal theme park rules still apply, party and all. You'll be walking lots of steps throughout the night, so you're going to want to wear something comfortable that isn't going to kill your toes. Trust me on this one. I love this next badge. This is probably my favorite part of this whole video, so I'm glad you're still here. Anyway, sometimes we deserve badges for overcoming the hard stuff, like overstimulation. Disney World is magical, but it can also be overwhelming, especially for kids who aren't used to all the sights and sounds and activities going on everywhere you turn, or the adults who get quickly burnt out by the constant commotion. In the past, when talking about places to escape when the parks become too much and you just need some space to step away and collect your thoughts, I've mentioned some of the quietest and most peaceful places across the parks that the DFB team and I like to venture off to, like inside the animatronic-driven stage shows or the little side exhibits around the Epcot pavilions. But this time, just to give you a better sense of preparedness, I'm going to tell you about the top places to avoid if you already feel like your super sensor gauge is about to blow a gasket. First, Main Street USA at the end of the night. It is hard to skip Happily Ever After in Magic Kingdom, but it might be even harder for you to try and endure the overstimulation that you get when everybody's on Main Street. Massive crowds, loud music, fireworks explosions. It can be a lot to handle when you're already hot and tired at the end of a long park day. It might not be a bad idea to escape Magic Kingdom an hour before showtime if you want to skip the hassle altogether and get back to your hotel without fighting the masses. But if you can't imagine missing out on this show, you can always watch it without the projections and without the Main Street crowds from behind the castle, like near Prince Charming Regal Carousel, or from a nearby monorail resort. Second place to avoid, World Showcase on the opening weekend of a festival. So Epcot festivals aren't always packed, but if you're going on opening or even closing weekend, you're not only battling against out-of-towners who want to be the first to explore festival's new offerings, but you're also battling against locals and vloggers and all of us media creators who are excited to see and taste our way around one of our favorite festivals. I'd recommend going to a fest in the middle of its run and in the middle of the week too, just for potentially shorter food booth lines and for overall less noise and bottlenecked pathways around the World Showcase. And 3, Galaxy's Edge in the morning or early afternoon. Many folks who are rope dropping or using early theme park entry to get into Hollywood Studios as soon as they can will more than likely be hitting up Galaxy's Edge first thing and staying there for a while. So those early afternoon crowds can get pretty intense in this section of the park. Crowds tend to dwindle in Galaxy's Edge later on in the day, especially when it's getting closer to Fantasmic showtime, so you might be better off venturing this direction by late afternoon, early evening instead. Besides, Batuu is beautiful at night. Time for the Imagineering Badge. You might associate being prepared with a hurry up and go mentality, but this badge in particular rewards you for doing the opposite. Lots of folks already know that Disney World is a theme park with lots of rides and restaurants and shows, etc., etc. But what they don't realize is how much detail Imagineers have put into these parks to make them as realistic and immersive as possible. So check out a few of these Imagineering Easter eggs just so we can really drive this point home. Over in Liberty Square in Magic Kingdom, there's tons of historic storytelling going on that's so easy to miss if you're not on the lookout for it. For example, the live oak in Liberty Square, it's got 13 lanterns hanging from its branches, representing the original 13 colonies. Some of the windows of the Liberty Square buildings also have lanterns, 2 to be exact, which is a nod to Paul Revere and his famous ride to alert the colonial soldiers how the British would be attacking them. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. And you see that brown pathway snaking across the ground? That represents the waste that used to flow through the streets during colonial times, considering that indoor plumbing wasn't a thing. And because there was no indoor plumbing, you're also not going to find a public restroom in this land, just to keep with the theme, unless, of course, you visit one of the Liberty Square restaurants. But people will say that technically those restrooms are in Fantasyland. it's contentious. Meanwhile, over in Epcot, each of the World Showcase pavilions reflects its respective country through authentic architecture and realistic replicas. In fact, in order to create the Morocco pavilion, the real Morocco artisans were contacted by the King of Morocco back in the day to have this area completely decorated by hand. So if you're wondering how authentic these pavilions actually are, hopefully that answers your question. Very, very authentic. Inside Hollywood Studios, you got tons of detailed rides and queues to explore. The ride that packs the most Imagineering details is probably Tower of Terror, since this attraction is all about giving us the Twilight Zone Easter eggs straight out of the classic episodes. For the record, if you just want to look through this queue and point out as many Twilight Zone hidden details as you can, but you don't necessarily want to ride the attraction itself, just let a cast member know right before it's boarding time and they'll point you to what we call the chicken exit, which I've taken myself many times before. No shame in it. What I think is weird, though, is that the chicken exit for Tower of Terror is an elevator. Anyway, one more area of hidden secrets and then I'll move on, just because I can't leave Animal Kingdom out of this. The Harambe section inside Africa completely transports you into an authentic African village. This area is so authentic, in fact, that Imagineers brought over African craftsmen to create authentically thatched roofs in Harambe. To thatch the roofs in the traditional way, as done in Africa, the craftsmen navigated the roofs barefoot to feel out for weak spots and make sure the thatching was secure. This barefoot approach caused some concerns for OSHA, the U.S. Occupational Safety and Health Administration, meaning Disney had to complete a lengthy process of petitions and appeals to help the craftsmen create the thatched roofs authentically. So don't take those roofs for granted, because Disney had to jump through a lot of hoops to get them done while still keeping true to the culture. All of this to say, the amount of immersiveness that Imagineers have put into these parks everywhere is as impressive as it is hard to wrap your head around. So don't just whiz on past all these details if you don't have to. Remind yourself to look up from your phone and travel plans and take it all on as much as you can. You never know what you might find that the Imagineers snuck into the parks for authenticity's sake, or to just have a little extra fun with us. If you're the type of person who rehearses conversations before you go out and eat with your friends, then this is going to be an easy preparedness badge for you. Meet and greet anxiety is real, and that's not just for the kids, that's for everybody. I mean, what are you supposed to say once you get up to the front of the line to meet your favorite character? Fortunately, characters and nearby character attendants aren't going to allow for any awkward air, and they can help lead the conversation if you want them to. However, if you're looking for maybe some more unique conversation starters that put the interaction ball in your court, you'll want to come up with some icebreaker topics ahead of time. I'll help you get those creative juices flowing with some convo topics that our DFB reporters have asked the characters themselves. Minnie Mouse is always up for talking about the outfit that she's wearing. You might even learn some fun details about where it's from and who made it. Want to get a rise out of Donald? Ask him who's number one, Mickey or himself. Winnie the Pooh is usually a pretty relaxed, silly willy-nilly old bear, but if you ask him anything about heffalumps and woozles, he might not be so chill anymore. And there are tons of questions you can ask Snow White. What's the key to a tasty gooseberry pie is a solid one. Or maybe you can ask if the dwarfs ever bring her any gems back from the diamond mine. Now, if you decide to come up with some questions or topics of your own because you've now suddenly been hit with a bout of inspiration, just keep in mind that the characters can't answer questions about things that aren't happening in their own story realm, which is kind of sad because that means Mickey Mouse doesn't know anything about Buc-ee's, and what kind of life is that? Even if you're not planning on using the Disney Dining Plan this next trip, you can still earn the Disney Dining Plan badge by learning all the tea I'm about to spill when it comes to DDP credits. But first, let's do a speedy DDP recap. Disney Dining Plans are an optional add-on to your Disney World trip, including a stay at a Disney-owned and operated hotel, so that all you have to do when you get to Disney World is head to a restaurant on the list of participating locations, eat some food, and scan your dining credits to pay for your meal or snack. We've got an updated list of where you can use your DDP credits around Disney World if you want to take a look-see before you book-see. Just scan the QR code you see on the screen now or pick it up over at disneyfoodblog.com/DDP restaurant. Okay, now that you're up to speed, let's get down to the truth of the matter. The DDP is not cheap. For a standard Disney dining plan, with table service restaurants included, in 2025, you're going to pay $97.70 per adult per night and $30.78 per child per night. Meanwhile, a quick service Disney dining plan, no table service included, will cost you $59.14 per adult and $24.70 per child. And yes, this cost is on top of what you'll already be paying for a Disney vacation package. For some, pre-purchasing all your Disney meals by using the dining plan might feel as if you're saving money, but that's not always true. That's not usually true. There are a lot of nuisances I could go into right now concerning all the ins and outs of the Disney dining plan, but I'm going to show you the general value of what each snack or dining credit is actually worth. Yeah, this really helps put things into perspective. So if you're going into this next trip using either of the Disney Dining Plan add-ons and you want to make sure you're getting your money's worth out of your daily allotment of credits, look at the prices of the things that you're purchasing before you purchase them. For example, that Pongu Lumpia snack from Pongu Pongu in Animal Kingdom is a great $4 deal out of pocket, but you're not going to want to spend a full snack credit on it and basically be out $4. On the flip side of things, that dinner over at Ohana at the Polynesian Village Resort might typically cost you $65 per adult and $42 per kid if you pay out of pocket. But here you could actually save a good chunk of money by using your Disney Dining Plan table service credits. It's all about the math, unfortunately, and if you're more into the DDP because of the convenience factor and you don't really care whether or not you're saving meal money in the end, that's okay. This is definitely a convenient service that you don't have to crunch the numbers for if you don't want to. But if you're really wanting to make sure the Disney Dining Plan is going to be worth the splurge, check out our Disney Food Blog videos about the best ways to use these credits, and be sure to do a little extra online menu exploring when you get the chance. Ooh, what's this? A rare golden badge just in time for the end of the video? What have we done to deserve such a high honor, Bria? Oh, not so fast. Before you collect this one, you're going to need to become a Disney Food Blog Pro, which means you're going to need to complete at least 2 of the following things. Ready to take on the challenge? Me too. Okay, 1, you can download our free Top Restaurants PDF over at disneyfoodblog.com/toprestaurants if you haven't already, and I don't know why you haven't because it's really cool. 2, use the YouTube savings code to pick up our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining over at dfbstore.com. Or 3, check out another one of our DFB videos, like the Disney World tricks that work every time, or whichever one tickles your fancy. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. It's been super fun collecting badges with you today. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.